It's that time of the week where we go through all 30 teams and check up on the injury status of your favorite players. Michael Bolton.
Thanks, Josh. It's Michael Bolton here, and it's time for another episode of the Locked On Fantasy Basketball Podcast. Let's get to it.
Let's get to it, indeed.
You are Locked On Fantasy, your daily NBA fantasy podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello and welcome to the Locked On Fantasy Basketball Podcast, brought to you by Basketball Monster. My name is Josh Lloyd, and I have not been fined $35,000 for making an obscene gesture to the fans. I'm also the lead fantasy analyst at basketballmonster.com, and you can find me on Twitter, as always, at redrock_Beeble, on Blue Sky, at joshloyd.bsky.social, on TikTok at redrock_Beeble, and on Instagram at Locked On Fantasy Basketball. Today's episode is brought to you by PrizePicks. Download the PrizePicks app, use the code LOCKEDONNBA, and get $50 instantly when you play $5. You don't even need to win to receive the $50 bonus. It is guaranteed. PrizePicks, run your game. Also, check out LockedOnDaily.com for the newsletters. Your favorite team, and the best information about them is encapsulated in those newsletters. So go and check them out over there. And of course, double bang and thumb and comment and all that stuff here. I try to go through this as quick as we can. We've got to whip around 30 teams here for their injury statuses. Some of them, again, quick disclaimer, don't know. I just don't know. Because we try to make our guesses based on information available, past information, history, guesses. It's going to be wrong for a lot of these ones, but just giving you a sort of an idea and an update of where we sort of sit in the state of injuries around the NBA. And again, I want to be really positive about this. It's annoying when players go down, but it does open up a lot of opportunities. And if you're just on your feet and on your toes is the correct term, and you're quick on your feet, you're able to grab guys and move players in and out and maintain really good fantasy value. It's frustrating, but you just got to be able to do it without being defeated. Start with the Washington Wizards, the only player at the moment that sits there. And generally for these, I'm just not going to talk about two-way players as injured guys. Tristan Vukcevic is injured at the moment, but that's a 1 or 2 game thing. And he's a two-way player, even though I did just mention him, and I said I wouldn't. Bilal left the last game, did old mate Koulibaly after a hit to the head. And it doesn't appear that it's going to be anything serious. What are they calling it? Head post-trauma. They just said to Bilal, how's your head? And he said, no complaints. So I guess we're going to be all right. If he misses a game, you'll get more Kispert, you'll get more Keyshawn George, but this thankfully seems like it's nothing too significant, no concussion protocol mention or anything along those lines. On the Utah side of things, Walker Kessler has missed the last couple of games with a hip injury that they had initially called hip soreness, and then they called it hip bursitis, which is a little troubling. I don't have an update yet for their game on Tuesday. They play Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday this week. I would expect that he could miss that game on Tuesday. We don't have any sort of idea whether this is a long-term thing. I worry that it might hang around and sort of flare up, flare off, all that sort of stuff. But there's a chance he plays Tuesday. I think it's probably more likely we get some Walker Kessler action going on Wednesday. Now we go to a team with an actual sizable injury report. That is the Toronto Raptors. I think we're a chance of getting Scottie Barnes back this week. I've got the return date set at about the 24th of November, which is the weekend. Yeah, maybe he's back then. Emmanuel Quickly and his partially torn UCL. Got him out until about the 1st of December. With him out, we just streamed Davion Mitchell. It's been a terrible start for Quickly. Injured thumb in the preseason. Came back, hurt his pelvis. Came back, tore his elbow. Nothing related to any of those injuries at all, just a terrible string of bad luck. I get the urge to drop him because you'll be frustrated about these injuries. It's very hard for me to say, drop a top 50 player. It's very hard to do that. He could be back before the 1st of December very easily, and that is only 2 weeks away anyway. I would be holding on to Emmanuel Quickly. We haven't seen any Bruce Brown or Kelly Olynyk this season. We haven't really got any significant updates on them. I've got about a 25th of November return, which is the start of next week, but that's a lot of guesswork there. Jacoby Walter's got that shoulder bruise and also had nothing really concrete on a return there. Maybe he's ended the week. I don't really think he matters that much, but yeah, the return of Brown and Olynyk will matter. It'll mainly take guys away like Chris Boucher and John Mobo and players like that. Bruno Fernando missed the last game with an ankle problem, was hurt in the last game, didn't return. He's been ruled out for Monday's game. He was playing those backup center minutes, and now it's going to have to be a mix of Mobo and Boucher because there's nobody else, and I know they're not going to give those minutes to Ulrich Chomsky. The San Antonio Spurs, I guess this is one you're waiting for. Victor Wembanyama missed the last game with a knee issue, and at times I do see people not knowing what happened, and so yeah, this is where it's important to really dig into the information. If someone started railing, what's going on in the NBA? Wemby and Vassell didn't need to miss the last game. They didn't even get hurt on Friday. Why would they sit on Saturday? That's so soft. Well, Wemby did get hurt on Friday. He did bang knees. He went to the locker room, and he did. Like, he came back, but he was hurt. And then he sat out on Saturday, and now he's doubtful on Tuesday. So, yeah, like, he did cop a knee issue, and it's a bruise. I don't know if it's a deep bone bruise or anything, but he did get hurt. Vassell was coming back off foot surgery, and he was not going to play on back-to-backs to begin the season because that's just where we're at. But, like, it is important to see those things and just understand what actually is going on in the league. With Wemby out, we do definitely have Zach Collins. Like, I didn't know if Wemby was going to be a one-game thing or not, but now that he's doubtful for Tuesday, like, you add Zach Collins. If you get a Tuesday game out of it, maybe you get a Thursday. I don't know. It's worth having him for now. And the other one is Jeremy Sohan. I had another person say, man, why do we get no updates on Jeremy Sohan? I'm not hearing anything. Because I don't think we need to. Like, they told us the timeline. It's around Christmas for a return. He's got the thumb surgery, and that still holds in place. And if you want to drop Jeremy Sohan because you need the IL spots, absolutely go ahead and do it. He's not good enough to clog up those spots for a long period of time. In Sacramento, a team for the last 2 seasons, we haven't really had anything to talk about injury-wise, and now we do. Domantas Sabonis missed the last game. He is doubtful for Monday's game. I would think that he's going to miss Monday, but then they play again Friday, so I think we'll be fine there. DeMar DeRozan's a little bit more concerning. He left Wednesday's game. He missed Friday. He missed Saturday, and he's going to miss Monday. If he returns on Friday, that would be over a week with a back problem. But if he doesn't return Friday, then we start to really get concerned. Obviously, with Sabonis out, Trey Lyles is getting a little bit more run. Kevin Huerter is doing a lot more without DeMar DeRozan. We also have Malik Monk, and I've got a return for him at about the 27th of November. He would have really benefited without DeRozan. Of course, he's not going to be able to. And we're going to get another opportunity to see a million shots from De'Aaron Fox. But also, maybe like Keegan Murray can take more than 4 or 5 shots. Maybe. We'll see. Devin Carter also out until the middle of January as his rookie season has yet to get started due to that off-season shoulder surgery. In Portland, a few injuries that are really important and really contextual in terms of looking at previous games' performances. Anfernee Simons has missed the last... Well, he played 5 minutes on Tuesday and then missed the last 2 with an illness, which they are complaining of shortness of breath, which, I don't know, feels like COVID. Hopefully he's able to get back pretty soon, but yeah, their next game is now Wednesday, which will be over a week, and I think that's a reasonable return for Simons to get back, while DeAndre Ayton, the snowman, is dealing with a deep finger bruise, which I know sounds soft, but I actually have no idea. And if it's on your right hand, you got to catch the ball with that. At times, a deep bone bruise feels like a fracture. And if you've got a fractured finger, you're usually not playing most of the time. So, but I don't know. I don't know what the actual story is here. I don't know if he's going to return here. But with him out, Robert Williams and Donovan Clingan are putting up the big numbers. And that in the short term, Rob Williams is the better player. Clearly. And I know someone will take issue with that, but let me again state this. At this point in time, Robert Williams is a better player than Donovan Clingan in real life and fantasy. At this point in time, me talking November 18th. Long term, they will be more incentivized to give Clingan the minutes. But if you're looking for immediate production, it's Williams. If you're looking for a longer term go, it's Clingan. We don't know what happens with Williams. We don't know what happens with Ayton. And what happens when Ayton returns? Are they going to run like 21 minutes for Ayton and 15 for Clingan and 15 for Rob? I don't know. It is a intriguing scenario, and I hope we get an answer. I think we might get Ayton, maybe not Wednesday, but then they've got a Friday, Saturday coming up, so maybe that Friday game. We haven't seen Matisse Thybulle this season. I don't think he plays. Maybe Saturday at the earliest is when we go, but where the hell does he fit in the rotation? Like, does he take Scoot's minutes, Sharp's minutes, Kamara's minutes, Banton's minutes? Where does he play? Chris Murray's been getting minutes. Ryan Rupert, he can easily get those ones, but I don't think we need to be worried too much about Matisse Thybulle in really any fantasy league at all. We've got way more teams to talk about, including any sort of update on the New Orleans Pelicans. We'll get to them in a second, but today's episode is brought to you by PrizePicks. You know what PrizePicks is, but if you don't, I'm going to tell you what PrizePicks is. PrizePicks is daily fantasy. Simple as that. It is the best place to get real money sports action. With over 10 million members and billions of dollars in awarded winnings, PrizePicks has made daily fantasy sports accessible to everyone. You just pick more or less on 2 or more individual player stat projections, and then you can win up to 100 times your money. You can run your game all season long on PrizePicks. It's the best place to get that real money sports action. There are over 10 million users there, and PrizePicks actually puts their members first. So all your withdrawals are fast and secure, and when you get your picks to hit, you can get your money in as fast as 15 minutes. PrizePicks now also offers Venmo and easy deposits and withdrawals straight into your account during whatever sports season it is that you are partaking in. So download the app today and use the code LOCKEDONNBA to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Download the app today and use the code LOCKEDONNBA to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. PrizePicks, run your game. Okay, let's get back into talking about these injuries. Also, don't forget to check out our Locked On NBA YouTube channel, live 24/7 NBA news and information. Locked On NBA on YouTube, live stream going all through the day. Let's go to Phoenix, where two of the big four are injured. Bradley Beal and Kevin Durant, both with calf injuries, both old men. Very different situations with both of them. Beal didn't appear that it was going to be something that would keep him out after, they said that he kicked himself in the calf. That's a very weird injury. But anyway, he is out on Monday. There is a chance that he is back on Wednesday, and then that is their week over. So do not start Bradley Beal this week in weekly leagues. I would then think that it makes it really clear that Beal will be at least back for the week after, and maybe he's back on Wednesday. Durant, we're looking a little bit longer here. I'm expecting about the 5th of December for him to return. And we've seen with him out, it just gives extra opportunities to Allen. It gives extra opportunities to O'Neal. It gives random opportunities to guys like Osa Iguodala at times and Josh Okogie at times. But the guys that I do really like are Allen and O'Neal in at least this short-term period while both those guys are out, but more specifically longer-term while KD is out. In Philadelphia, the injuries have cleared up. They're going to need to get some wins like quick smart here. Tyrese Maxey dealing with the hamstring injury. I think there is a shot that he is back on Wednesday. If not, I think he's back this week at some point, but I've got at the moment him down for Wednesday as a return. I would guess on low minutes, and that's probably 37. He'll be back there, and then we get the real decision. What the hell happens with Jared McCain, who I am very confident will start. Whether he remains good enough to roster is still an open question, because he will be the 4th offensive option, I guess. And then you're needing him to get assists, and when will he have the ball? I don't know. He will feel like he goes into a very small role, but I don't know. So we roster him for now. And then Joel Embiid is doubtful. Yeah, doubtful on Monday with illness. I wanted nothing to do with Embiid this season, and now this is another added thing onto it, which is just incredibly frustrating. I don't know that Drummond's the stream. In fact, the last few games, it's been Gershon Yabusele who's been better than Drummond, because I'm very, very confident at this point that Andre Drummond is washed. The Big Avocado just isn't the same player anymore. He hasn't. Remember, what's the funniest Andre Drummond? The one in Cleveland? That's the funniest one for sure. Andre Drummond in Cleveland, one of the funniest players ever. Look, you can try Drummond as a stream, but Yabusele has been the guy who's been getting the larger role. In Orlando, Paolo Banchero, dealing with that oblique issue, no real change or update for him. We're talking about around the middle to end of December. I've got a 21st of December return. They keep starting Tristan da Silva. He keeps barely sniffing 20-team league value. Sometimes we'll get Mr. Black playing more. Other times Anthony Black does nothing. So he's like a defensive stat stream guy. And then we are nearing allegedly a return here for Wendell Carter Jr. Wendell is doubtful for their game on Monday. And then we get the information about, they play on Wednesday, Thursday. So I would guess that Wendell sits one of those 2 games, returning from a plantar fascia issue. And then we get to see what happens with Goga Bitadze, who I think will sort of fade out of the rotation and not be useful. And there is a risk in this. But if you wanted to move on from Goga now, even though you might get 2 more good starts or even more, but it depends on the level of free agent that you're looking to pick up. If you're looking for a single-day stream, I don't think I would do that. If you're looking for, someone dropped this good player, or, Bogdanovic appeared on the waiver wire, should I go and grab him? I would. I would sacrifice short-term 1-2 games maybe for Bitadze to get a longer-term player like Bogdanovic. And that's the old STP-LTG scenario where sometimes you have to make that move a little bit early, whether it's in trades or drops, in order to get something that gives you that longer term value. And the closer we get to fantasy playoffs, the way that window shifts is important, and understanding that long-term value is not as important and short-term value is. And then we might continue to make that switch as we go from like 100 to 0 to 90 to 10 in terms of long versus short, and then it all squishes in as we get further down the old pathway. On to the Oklahoma City Thunder, who, much like the Sacramento Kings and the Minnesota Timberwolves, have been incredibly healthy. They're not this season, clearly. Isaiah Hartenstein, maybe we're getting him back next week. Maybe. With that fractured hand, I would think around the beginning of December, end of November. I've got him as a 29th of November return, and obviously when he comes back, he's going to be in position to put up some really, really big numbers. Isaiah Joe left the last game with, I believe, a leg injury. He'd been starting 4 consecutive games. He's a 3 points and points guy. He's absolutely not a must-roster guy, but with him out, you're going to get more Wiggins, you're going to get more Cason Wallace, and you probably get a little bit more AJ Mitchell for deeper leagues. I don't know if Joe's going to miss, though. Well, Alex Caruso has missed 3 consecutive games. This injury now with a hip issue for Caruso, again, further cements that there is no shot in the world that they're going to push him further than 21 minutes until we get maybe to the playoffs. They're just not going to do it, and they haven't done it so far, and that means that you don't need to roster Alex Caruso. Pig Williams' hamstring irritation is out until the beginning of December, so he's not really going to get a chance to benefit from Holmgren's injury. And while Chet, I've got him down as an 8th of February return. I might adjust that. I think that's a little optimistic. I think we might be pushing towards March. It's a bad injury, man. But I don't know. At the moment, he's sitting at 8th of February return for Chet Holmgren. In New York, they obviously have no depth, and then their depth pieces are injured at the moment. Deuce McBride is dealing with a knee issue. He's out again on Monday. So that means you're going to get a little bit more campaign. It means you get a little bit of minutes from Tyler Kolek, and you get some minutes from Pacom Dadier. But what it does mean, you get 45 minutes from Hart and Anunoby and Bridges, and you just hope that they don't break, because honestly, if one of those guys goes down, what do? Does Campaign play 30 minutes? Does Dadier play 30 minutes? What if someone gets hurt with Deuce McBride out now, they are rooted. Achua, we're maybe looking at the end of the week in his return from a hamstring, and while Mitchell Robinson probably around the new year, nothing really changes there. We haven't got an update on it, and I don't believe that Mitchell Robinson is anything close to being a stash-worthy player. New Orleans, it's the big 6 that remain out, and these are probably 6 of the best 9 players on the team. Is that fair? DeJounte Murray, Herb Jones, Jordan Hawkins, and CJ McCollum. I do think we are getting to the end of a lot of this, though. I think that, what's the date now? We're sitting here as the 18th in the US. I think that maybe this week or maybe Monday next week, we can get some of these guys returning. Murray, Jones, McCollum, Hawkins. I think they all could be back within a week. I don't know that at this point, but that's what I'm thinking. And that will obviously eliminate BJ. So, much like with the Gogo Badadze discussion, if you wanted to drop BJ Boston, totally okay. You will miss out on something short term, but when Murray, Jones, McCollum, Hawkins all return, BJ might play 12 minutes. He might play 18. But he's not going to be playing 34 as the second offensive option. That, I can 100% guarantee you, and that means that if you need to make a forward-facing move, you can do that. Zion and Jose Alvarado more longer term. I've got them back around the 19th of December with their hamstring injuries. Zion, of course, notoriously legendary healer. He might take longer, and that is incredibly frustrating. And with him out, it's just more for everybody. More shots for everybody, more minutes for Trey Murphy, more opportunities for deeper leagues for Jeremiah Robinson-Earl, but that'll disappear once those other players return as well. And then that other team who's been very, very healthy remains healthy. Minnesota, no one. They're just fine. No one's not playing well, but everyone's healthy for them at the moment, which is great in that sense. But you would hope that, considering they've got the best injury situation going on in the NBA at the moment, that their performances may be a little bit better. But that's okay. They're not. We've got the rest of the NBA to cover off in a sec. But today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook. Get ready to tackle the NFL action with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. New customers right now, if you get, you can get $150 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet. The FanDuel Sportsbook app has everything that you need to go in, watch an NFL game, and place live NFL bets. The bets are there. That's a core piece of their business, having bets available to bet on. Yeah, makes sense. And I'm sure that they have that covered off in probably the first meeting. But then what they also did, on that same page, all of the live stats, all of the live play-by-play. So every little bit of information that you want to check and double-check and cross-check and reference, it's all there in that same spot. No need to be opening multiple tabs and having that, what's that fear called? The fear when you have multiple tabs open and then you close one and then you don't, you go, oh, what if I don't remember what it was? That's me with like literally 60 tabs open on 4 different windows of Chrome. I wonder why my computer runs slow. That might be it, but that's okay. With FanDuel, it's all in that one spot on the app. So go to FanDuel.com right now and join today with $150 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet. Never waste a hunch to make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. And don't forget to gamble responsibly. Okay, let's go through the rest of these teams. Can we get this in under 30 minutes? It seems unlikely. You might remember the acronym. Acronym's probably not the right word. That's a little bit of the right word. It's not really. No, it's just abbreviations. No, it's not. It's initializations of WFK, because that's where I'm at with Chris Middleton. No idea. Absolutely no idea. Off-season ankle surgery, going to be right for opening night. Sure, we're 4 weeks in. And we still don't know. Maybe he's back later this week. But what I do know is that you have almost no shot of Chris Middleton touching 30 minutes before the All-Star game. They are going to be incredibly careful with him. And that's just a disaster. Like, not that you spent a high amount on getting him, because you didn't. You got him around 100 or so, and he will be okay, but he'll be borderline for a while, and it's just maybe not something I want to be involved in, honestly. And the other one there is old mate Ryan Rollins, who stole a couple of starts away when Lillard was out. Then he suffered that shoulder instability. He told us that he was fine for the next game. Of course, he's missed the last 3. I don't know where he fits when he returns. Will he slide back to that backup point guard spot, or has DeLon Wright done enough? Who's to say? And I don't really think it matters, because Damian Lillard is ready and returning from his concussion. Let's go on and look at the Miami Heat now. A couple of injuries here. Terry Rozier, who's been brutal the last couple of games, is dealing with a foot issue. He's ruled out on Monday, so I didn't really see that coming. Maybe that's why he's been as bad as he has been. We will see if that's an ongoing thing, but yeah, maybe he's able to return. Their next game is on Sunday. After this, I'd say he's going to be okay. Well, Jaime Jaquez, predictably, ruled out on Monday after spraining his ankle Sunday, and again, a fairly decent shot he's able to get back on Sunday. And the good news is Jimmy Butler is available to return, so he'll be playing in that game on Monday for Miami. Let's take a look now at the Memphis Grizzlies, who we're starting to get players back there as well. Ja Morant hasn't really been an update on that recently, which is not a surprise. I've got him around that first week of December coming back, but it is entirely possible he's back like a week, 10 days earlier than that. With him out, we can still keep rolling with Scottie Pippen, but I don't see any chance that Pippen is going to be able to maintain value once Morant is available to play. I just don't see that happening, because they'll be sort of more fully formed and whole. Zach Edey hurt his ankle last game. He had to be helped into the locker room. I don't think that it's anything super serious here, but I don't think he's going to be available to play on Tuesday. I don't have any official timeline there. They've also got a Tuesday, Wednesday back-to-back, so that makes me feel even more confident that he'll sit one of those games. And then you'll see more from Brandon Clark. You'll see more from Jay Huff, but that's probably just a one-game sort of a thing. Marcus Smart missed the last game with an illness. No update on him. I don't know that he's a must-roster player at this point. I think he's going to be like an on-and-off stream guy. And then we've got GG Jackson, who is dealing with that foot fracture. And about Christmas time, I think, is a decent time for him to be back and ready to go. Let's take a look at the Lakers. A lot of injuries there for the Lakers. Rui Hachimura missed the last game with an ankle problem. What we saw, of course, was Dalton Connect move into that starting lineup. Connect has been very good the last few games. It's coming on some very high shooting numbers, which aren't going to hold. It's all going to be about minutes for Connect. And what do? Do they keep starting Reddish? Could they actually play Connect at the 2? I doubt it, but could they? Maybe. And that's what we want to see. Or would they bench Hachimura so that Dalton can start? I don't know. Hachimura's got the size advantage, and theoretically the defense. Well, no, he does, because Connect's terrible defensively, but Rui's got some defensive advantages, but who knows? That shooting ability and spacing ability, and I guess some of it is the fear of shooting, which Connect doesn't have, which is a weapon in itself, makes him marginally interesting. I've added him in a couple of spots, not many ads there, just to see where it goes, because he's been top 100 over the last week, and I'm intrigued. I'm intrigued to see where it goes. Jackson Hayes, Christian Wood, and Jared Vanderbilt are all big men, all remain out. I got 23rd of November for Hayes with his ankle. Wood suffered a setback, so I'm looking middle to late December. Obviously, we're not rostering him, while Jared Vanderbilt haven't had any real update there. I think a realistic base target is maybe the end of November, but that could be way longer. They're not telling us anything, which is a little concerning. Cam Reddish missed the last game with a leg problem. They started Max Christie there. It was good to see Christie get back into the rotation with 30 minutes in 2 straight games. I would love if they started Christie over Reddish full-time, but Christie's not doing anything in those minutes, so maybe Reddish gets back. We're not really worrying, but the Reddish, D'Angelo, Russell somehow is in that mix. Max Christie thing is screwing with what Russell can do and then creating a shadow over where we look at connect, and it'd be great to get a little bit more clarity on that. For the Clippers, there is just one injury. And it's him. It's Kawhi, and that's another entry into the WFK list. I have no idea. He's not practicing with the team. This continues to be a dreadful situation that I regret picking him in the one league that I did at like 60, and even that was too high. That was before I heard the surgery news, and that's when I pushed him down to 100. And yeah, will we get 30 games out of Kawhi this season? I think that's the main question, and I don't know. And while he is out, it's more Harden, it's more Powell, it's more Zubats. It's, at the moment, Kevin Porter who is pushing up, and I think Kevin is maybe worth a grab in 12-team leagues at the moment, which might not work out, but he might be worth a grab. Let's go on to the Indiana Pacers. Miles Turner popped up after a huge game last time out, played 40 minutes or so and scored 34 points. He is now on the injury report for Monday, on a back-to-back with calf soreness. If he sits, I don't know what they do. They'll probably have to start Siakam at center, Pascal Siakam, and then Jarris Walker will have to start, but Ben Shepherd's out as well. So Walker might just start regardless. Maybe you're going to get Johnny Furphy, Enrique Freeman. Maybe you get 26 minutes of TJ McConnell. There's a lot of opportunities for the Pacers on Monday. I've got Nembhard out until about the 25th with his knee, and Neesmith until about the 1st of December. And when they come back, we'll see if there's an impact on Mathurin. There'll be a small one, but I do think Mathurin is going to hold this job. And then Shepherd, I'm going to rule out for this week with an oblique strain. You leave a game with an oblique issue, you're probably missing time. And then with him out, I do think that does help both TJ McConnell and Jarris Walker to become at least 12-team stream options. We'll go ahead now and take a look at the Houston Rockets, and the only injury there is one that sort of popped up out of nowhere. Cam Whitmore just hasn't been in the coach's plans at all, and now he is ruled out with knee soreness. Well, he wasn't playing anyway, so I don't know where his career goes at this point. It's obviously very disappointing, and he is just another one of those players, right, that comes out with incredibly high, high school rankings, falls in the draft, and nothing ever happens in the NBA. There are so many. I thought Whitmore might buck the trend. At the moment, definitely hasn't. Like Nasir Little, Cam Reddish, Skal Labissiere, all these sort of players, and you go, they're rated so highly. Oh, why are they falling? That's weird. And then they do nothing. And the track record of those guys doing nothing it's pretty long and pretty impressive. That's what she said. Let's talk about the Golden State Warriors. Steph Curry appeared on the injury report with a knee issue. What are they calling it? Knee bursitis. Not good. He already missed the games with the ankle problem. He's questionable, but the bursitis thing is something that can flare up at any point, so we've just got to be on the lookout for that. And if he misses, then obviously we look at Brandon Podziemski as a must-roster player. In fact, if you just wanted to grab Podziemski now with Melton out and with Steph borderline, makes a bit of sense. Speaking of Melton, I've got a rounded late December return from his partial ACL tear. This could be way longer, and there is no reason to hold on to him. And then 2 other questionable tags for today. Kevon Looney with an illness, who's been a rebound stream guy, and that's about it. And then Hall Pass legend Lindy Waters started the last game. He had that one monster performance earlier this season, but it's going to be him and Hield and Payton and Moody and a million guys that don't really matter for us for the majority of time in the majority of fantasy leagues. After the Golden State Warriors, we head to Detroit, and we don't really have an update on Asar Thompson. We know that he passed the medical situation in terms of being cleared to play. Whether he's back from his conditioning or not, I don't know. He's not going to play on Monday. Their next game is Thursday, so I think that's a decent sort of situation for him to return to. And then we will find out where that goes. Tim Hardaway has missed the last 3 with a head injury, but he's probable, so he's returning. My thing with Asar, not that I don't like him, I think he's a very good player. I think he's got one of the best athletes I've ever seen, an unbelievable defender, but does he play enough to matter? Does he play enough given the fact that JB Bickerstaff is really loving the shooting, the 20 minutes of Fontecchio, the Beasley, the Hardaway minutes, can Asar find 25 minutes? And I'm honestly, as good as he is defensively, I'm not really sure where it fits. Especially after so long out here, I would be a little skeptical. Love Asar, but I'm a little skeptical of where the role fits. Bobby Klintman, calf injury, haven't seen him yet. He's a second-round player. Probably not going to see him anyway, maybe a week or two away. But honestly, they've given us no updates on that, and it doesn't matter for the majority of us. Big Chungus, Nikola Jokic has missed the last 2 games due to personal reasons. Their next game is on Tuesday. I would think that he's a decent shot to be back there. With him out, Dario Saric had been a solid stream, but that won't last, I'm guessing. Well, Aaron Gordon, we're talking about a calf injury leading into the first week of December. Keep rolling Peyton Watson, but watch this, because Watson's minutes the last 2 games have been reduced, 29 and 28. He was getting 38 before. If we are a 29-28 Peyton Watson situation, now some of that is because they were getting blown out with no Jokic, and Watson really does sort of thrive next to Jokic, watch the minutes. Because if he's a 29-minute-a-night player, Watson's not a long-term guy, and you can move on and consider him more of a stream guy versus a must. If he pushes back to 35 when Jokic is there, then yeah, we definitely hold it and we use him until the value dries up. Let's go to Dallas, and we had Luka Doncic missing the last game with a knee problem. I'm going to say that he's questionable for Tuesday's game. It was a back-to-back, so I think he's been banged up for a long time, Luka, and I think you'll get a few of these games throughout the season. I think he'll be fine. And returning on Tuesday, we had Quentin Grimes starting in his place. Didn't really do much, but had done something the last couple of games before that. And then we're still waiting on a Dante Exum season debut. We're going to be waiting a long time. He's a middle of January return with a wrist problem, and he won't impact fantasy leagues at all, I don't think. In Cleveland, there's a bunch of interesting ones here. Donovan Mitchell rested the last game. He's fine. He's back. Max Strus hasn't played yet. I'm looking at around the beginning of December for him to return from his ankle. But then all of the replacements, Isaac Okoro, Sam Merrill, and Dean Wade, are all dealing with ankle problems as well. Now, I don't think any of those are long-term, but both Okoro and Wade left the last game with those injuries, and Merrill has missed 3 straight. So at the moment, I'm labeling all of those players questionable. And if 2 of them are out and 1 of them's in, then the value of that player boosts, and theoretically so it does for Karis LeVert and even Milk, although Ty Jerome probably needs Donovan Mitchell out to be able to do that. If all of those guys are out, Strus, Okoro, Merrill, Wade, then Jerome, and then deeper leagues will look at Jalen Tyson as someone who might have to slide in for 15 to 20 minutes. But I don't think that the Okoro, Merrill, and Wade thing are long-term situations. In Chicago, the only injury at the moment is Lonzo Ball, dealing with that wrist sprain. I've got him out for about another 4 more games. I don't think you need to be rostering him in any 12-team leagues or probably even 14. And then they also just added Pat Williams as probable with foot soreness. It is a back-to-back. He stunk last game like the entire team did. And I would hold him there. But, of course, it's Pat Williams. So if he goes back to being terrible, you drop him. Like, there's no reason to hold on to someone who's bad, even though he was playing well. In Charlotte, Trey Mann has missed 2 of the last 3 games with a back problem. I do think that the game that he missed on Sunday was because it was a back-to-back with his back issue. So maybe we can get back to his back being okay and maybe still just sitting the back-to-backs. Trey Mann, though, at the moment, I think some of the minutes being reduced are due to his lumbar issue. And we'll see. Do they push him back to 25? I don't think so. And I don't think he needs to be rostered. And then we get to the centers. I have absolutely no idea when Mark Williams will return. None. He appears to be a relatively slow healer. They are better this season at giving updates, but still not good enough. And if you want to move on from Mark Williams, I totally get it. The problem is that every day that passes, you feel like you're 1 day closer to him returning, because theoretically you are. But is it 100 days away or is it 3? I don't know. Nick Richards dealing with a rib cartilage fracture. I think maybe another week to a week and a half for him, so maybe the beginning of next week. And if he is back before old mate Mark Williams, well, then you would go back and you would roster Nick Richards. And then Daquan Jeffries hasn't played this season. Not sure he ever will. He's dealing with a hand fracture. We go to Brooklyn. Now, there's a few players here that haven't played at all this season, but the most important player here is Nick Claxton. Claxton, we're probably going to rule out for the rest of this week and maybe targeting Monday, week 6 with his back issue. It's just a lot more for Dorian Finney-Smith, and then you get a little bit of Trendon Watford, Noah Clowney coming in off the bench. Claxton's been really disappointing, and I do think that this back problem is going to create some longer-term, season-long issues for him. Day'Ron Sharp, you would have hoped that he would be able to have some value if Claxton's out, but of course he hasn't played, and I think they might return at a similar time. And then the other one, who also might be back around that time, but we don't know, they haven't told us anything, is Bojan Bogdanovic, who had the wrist and foot issues in the offseason. And I honestly just don't know where Bogdanovic fits in. I don't think he's playing 30 minutes on this team, with Johnson and Finney-Smith doing what they're doing, and then the value of Zaire Williams and Jalen Wilson. Do they just keep Bojan out and try to move him? I honestly, I can't really figure out where he fits in. Onto the Boston Celtics, and we did get some positive news on the big fella, Kristaps Porzingis, dealing with that foot and ankle surgery. I was thinking around New Year for him and then full minutes sort of around the All-Star break, but he is doing some practice with the G League team. They still haven't given an update on a return, but I've pulled it forward a couple of weeks until the middle of December for Porzingis to return. Understand he's going to miss back-to-backs all season, and I would guess he's going to start by playing 21, 22 minutes a night for 3-4 weeks, so you're sort of ramping that up to about 30 by the time you hit sometime in January. That will obviously kill any of that value of Cater and Cornette, and they just become stream guys. And Horford's value will decrease, although I'd still want to hold him until we get full Porzingis back. And then the last team, a team that was obviously riddled with a bunch of injuries, the Atlanta Hawks, that's a little bit cleaner now on that injury report. Bogdan Bogdanovic has been doing some practice work, so I would think that he returns this week. In fact, we just got the update. He is off the injury report. So Bogdan is probably going to play on the 18th of November, and I would go and add him. Kobe Buffkin also available to play off the injury report, while Vic Krejci's been ruled out with the groin issue. I'm guessing that's just back-to-back related. So the only guy at the moment on that injury report is Krejci. So there you go. DeAndre Hunter's playing, Bogdanovic is playing, and Buffkin's playing. I would 100% add Bogdanovic over DeAndre Hunter. Hunter's okay in a 14-teamer. I'm very skeptical in 12s, but if you want to do it, do it. But I'll tell you what we're doing, though. Zach Ricochet.
Get that garbage out of here.
Yeah, and then deeper leagues, I am excited to see what Buffkin can do, and hopefully he's able to stay healthy for more than 5 minutes. All right, that'll do it. We are done, all 30 teams. I didn't quite get there in under 30 minutes, but we got close enough. So what you can do, just to give me a pity thumb on YouTube and subscribe and leave all your comments down below. Guys, we are done here. Thank you so much for listening, everyone. See ya.